Okay, guys, so this is part 2 of the BTSB album review. And just real quick, when we initially recorded this, it was literally the day after it dropped. And I had only listened to it about that time, maybe 2 or 3 times. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still in school, so I'm still very busy. And we had to record this, and I had a bunch of other stuff to do. So if there's anything that I missaid, like a member sung this part but it was actually a different member, that's why. And I was also reading off lyrics, so since I didn't listen to the songs enough, I couldn't have the actual member who was singing playing in my brain at the time. But I mean, now I know everything. I'm pretty sure I've listened to everything. I listened to the whole album at least 5 times a day since we recorded that. So I just wanted to put that out there. But anyway, still enjoy this episode. All right, guys, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. So let's jump into literally what this whole episode is about. See, I get off topic so quickly. I have such a short attention span.
It's okay. I feel like nowadays we all do.
That's true. But let's get into this album because
Yeah.
when they announced it, I literally told Nafees, I'm like, Nafees, we're doing an episode on this new album. I don't care how many songs are on there. I don't care how long this is. We're talking about this. I need a whole dedicated episode. I can't just casually bring this up. Okay.
Honestly, after listening to the songs, it does deserve its own episode, so.
Masterpiece. Just favorite album? I don't know. Like, in my top favorites from BTS, we will see, but it's definitely climbing up there.
Okay.
Because I do think there are some past albums that I have a strong grip on that are like, yeah, especially my top 3. But that will be revealed in a later episode because we have a plan for that. So
Yeah. I'm not sure if this is my top album too, but it's like, I really like it.
yeah, it was really good.
It's very good, it's very relevant, and the best thing of all is that it's not cheesy, so it's like, okay, this is good.
Okay, so we're going to go in chronological order, obviously, of the album. So first, let us start with the title track, which also includes the music video, Life Goes On. I feel like Nafees is a little bit more good at describing stuff than I am. So I took down like really quick bullet points of like literally my first like reactions / thoughts that were going through my head, like really quick. Some of them might just be like 1 word or like 2 words. So I think I'll go first, and then Nafees can talk about like the songs and more details, and I will just piggyback off of what Nafees is saying.
Sounds good.
How does that sound? Okay. But then first, a quick like description. I think I got this from the same tweet about the review. So Life Goes On is described as alternative hip-hop. Listen, I don't know that much about music.
Yeah, me neither.
Someone who is more knowledgeable about music will let me know if this is an accurate description of alternative hip-hop or not, because I actually don't really know what alternative hip-hop sounds like.
I was actually gonna say it had more of a older hip-hop, like 90s vibe to it.
Okay, yeah, so I can see it in that way for alternative. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
But with the sentimental acoustic guitar sound, the lyrics echo a comforting message that in the face of unexpected turns and abrupt disruption, this is delivered through BTS's emotional voice. And then, of course, these lyrics we got are translated. The best website I found that I shared with Nafees that had them translated like in English, and I think they have other translations too that I saw on the website when I did a quick search and not from the direct link I got it from my phone, is genius.com. So unless you guys want to go on like Twitter, I mean, there's tons of amazing fan translators that do like a really good job, but like if you're on a computer, this is where I found that. So it was really good as well. But my first thoughts, this is when I was watching the music video. Jungkook looking out the window. Relatable. Just, you're trapped inside.
Yeah.
And it's a nice day, but, you can't go out. Also relatable when Jimin was coming out of the bathroom, like, he was pretending to, like, brush his teeth and just, like, wiping his eyes, like, because he looked tired. I was like, oh, so they're just gonna read me this whole music video. Because, yeah, it explained me in a nutshell. Taeyong looked really amazing at the opening scene of him driving.
Yeah. I wish they had more shots of him, though, other than in the car.
Yeah. Well, okay, so this actually just dropped before, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but they released another like B-side music video that they do sometimes. This is obviously just for fans. So, you know, in the music video of that scene where Yoongi's verse starts and they're like in a bedroom and like some of them are on one bed and some of them are on another.
Yeah.
A whole music video is basically just them singing the song in that room. I mean, take it as you want. If you want to, yeah, I still think it's cute. They're all like in their little pajamas, and then like the camera work. Someone in film is gonna kill me because I always get these terms confused. There's trucking and there's dolly, and I always confuse the two. I believe it's trucking. Like there are two terms when you physically move the camera and not just like zooming in and out. On like each member. Believe it's trucking, but someone please correct me if I'm wrong, because now I'm thinking, well, maybe is that considered dolly? I don't know.
Can't tell you.
I know. You would think I would know, but sometimes I forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was basically the whole premise of the second music video. So it's cute. And that literally just dropped today.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. But we're talking about the main one that obviously dropped during release. So like I also put the dust on the bike, so when Namjoon's like, you know, outside and like looking over the balcony and he touches his bike, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to resemble like, you know, not being able to ride it for so long that it collects dust. And I was like, well, dang, sad.
Yeah, because that's funny, because I think he has a thing with dust in this part, because one of the lyrics says that it prompts me to press the dust-covered rewind button. So just to further emphasize, like, okay, this whole pandemic is like causing them to slow down and look at things that they probably forgot about, like the bike.
That's very true. See, this is why I led you up to the actual description. You're doing so much better than me.
No, but I'm actually glad you're going through the video, because I forgot parts of it. So
yeah, when I say these notes, like I can remember it visually, but like I said, I'm not a big music person. I don't know a lot of technical terms in music.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, let me just do reactions. I think Nafees can explain herself better than me. And then like lazing around, because after that they shoot to points where like I'm pretty sure it's the perspective of the TV and they're watching TV, but like we're technically the TV, so you see them like in certain parts like lazing around. Sometimes they'll get up and like move around, so it just shows like the lethargic of just being like not being able to do anything.
Yeah.
Did I use the right word?
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. I know my words. And I also put definitely represents different people's coping mechanisms, because they all had like different, I feel like, ways that represented, especially their personalities. If you know them like from fans, I think it represented what they might have been going through as far as coping with this. And I'm sure other people can relate.
Yeah.
I put crying because I said in the first part, if you listen to the first, like all the way at the beginning of this episode, I was already having a bad day. So this did trigger me a little. I was already crying anyway. This just made me cry anymore, but in a good way. So just crying whole time. Oh, but the part I really started, I think, crying was that kind of break in the music video, not really in the song. There's two parts. So there was one part where V was driving and there's just like a long look at the stadium. So, you know, he's passing by the stadium and he's a musician. So he's like, oh, you know, I haven't been there in a very long time. Like, no.
Yeah.
So that hit me. And then another part where in the break of the music, it kind of stops and we're focused on like Jin's face and he closes his eyes and then he opens it up and then like the color wise it turns black and white and then it's them singing like sitting on chairs in an empty stadium.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, my next bullet point was just like forever crying. So, and I wonder, it got me thinking, I was like, this morning, I wonder when they filmed that, because that looks like the same stadium they were in for Map of the Soul 1, the recent online concert they just did. And the way they had They had lights on the chairs, which is the light sticks, which obviously represents if like there was people in the crowd, because you know light sticks are a really big thing
Mm-hmm.
with like created artists and like the K-pop scene. So I wonder if that was all filmed like maybe during rehearsals for the one concert.
It would make sense. Just get it done in one go.
It's in black and white, but I can tell they're all wearing white. Even for like the vocal line, it looked like they're in the same clothing to me anyway that they were in for 0 o'clock, and maybe they just gave like Yoongi, Namjoon, and J-Hope, you know, white suits.
Oh, okay.
But that's what just popped up in my head when I watched them. Like, I wonder if they filmed this the same time they were either preparing or like maybe before the actual concert dates for one.
I mean, it would make sense because they are busy people after all. So scheduling
Yeah.
and things like that may have created a conflict.
Yeah. So those were just the things, my first thoughts watching. I mostly did the music video, I'm not gonna lie.
I'm glad you did because I focused more on the lyrics.
That's fine. So let's get into the lyrics in the song, Nafees.
First of all, I thought, just like any other BTS song, I thought the lyrics were great. They're also very thought-provoking. But what I really, really liked about this is, like, in the first line, he gets right to it. One day the world stopped, like, bam. He just addressed exactly what he wanted to talk about, which was, like, you know, the pandemic. And the world literally did stop for, like, a good 2 weeks to, like, a month. I mean, because there was a period where, like, everybody was just confused. Nobody knew what was going on.
Right.
I remember, like, watching the news every single day, and, like, information about the coronavirus was different every single day. Like, one day it was being transmitted by air. The other day it's like, no, it's not being transmitted by air. One day you were required to wear masks. The next day you weren't. So there was a lot of fluctuation of information. There were a lot of differences in opinion of how to go about, you know, containing it. So it was like, it was a mess. The world literally did stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, bystanders like us, who are not scientists, who are not politicians, who are not leaders, really had no choice but to wait for, like, further instruction. We had to, like, wait for, you know, leaders to take action. So that part really, really, like, struck.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to say, like, without any warning, which was true. Well, for America, at least there was a warning because it was spreading in other areas of the world. So at least for us, we did have a warning. It's another thing, though, that we didn't take it seriously, but...
Yeah, maybe that can go into without warning of, like you were saying, everything stopping as far as, like, working, going into work, this rush of, like, social distancing or just being, like, told to stay in your house, don't come outside, and then we'll just let you know further. Because, I mean, even in Wuhan, I know, like, they went on complete lockdown, so no one was even allowed to go outside unless you worked at an essential business. But even then, I think it's different. So I think unless you were like a nurse or doctor, you couldn't go outside. And of course, their government thing's a little different. So like they would have officials bring food and stuff and like essential needs to people's houses.
Mm-hmm.
So they were literally on complete lockdown. So I can see where that might be where with like the world just stopped.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say, Jungkook and Jimin, this is their verse, the streets erased of footprints. I don't know, that really stood out to me because, again, this is lockdown and there's no foot traffic outside. People are inside, there's no one going to the malls, there's no one going out to eat. Just even to take like a simple walk in the park, that was like a big deal too.
Yeah.
So the fact that they were able to narrate that and notice that, like, that's a big deal.
One thing I like about BTS is they're very insightful.
Yes.
And like they know what's going on, whether they are vocal about it or not. So
And like the last two lines of the stanza too, still on the first verse, time goes by on its own without a single apology. And I couldn't help but think how true that is. Like, regardless of what happens, whether it's like a good thing or a bad thing, there's no repercussion. There's no like feedback because time is time. It goes on whether you like it or not.
They'll literally keep moving with or without you.
And you can think of this like in a very positive note too, because even though you are going through a hard time, it will pass. Even if you're going through a really good time, that will pass. So it kind of like forces you to think, not forces you, but prompts you to think about things in a more realistic manner. Like, okay, nothing is going to last. Like, it's more in like waves. or ups and downs, you know?
Depending on the person, it could be forceful too.
That's
Because
true.
because you have to look at it like, I know sometimes, especially when you're going a really good time, like sometimes you're like, nothing bad will ever happen. So you kind of trick yourself into thinking like it'll last forever until the bad thing does happen. So that does kind of snap you out of it.
That's true.
So,
like take you by surprise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like RM's verse comes, verse 2. I've noticed a theme, by the way, where he's always talking about like rain and how it brings out like this negative emotion with him. Because he talks about like, oh, it's raining again today. And
he has a whole song on his mixtape Mono called Forever Rain. So I am not surprised.
Yeah.
And love that song. It is like the most depressing song.
Aww.
When you read the lyrics. Even the music video, I was like, I know I cried for sure when I watched Forever Rain, which, going off a little topic, was a little embarrassing because during the time that dropped and when I first got into them, I was going through a fire drill. Well, not going through a fire drill. Someone set off the fire alarm in my dorms. It was very easy to set off the fire alarm in the dorms I used to live in college.
Yeah.
So like I was outside with other students watching this. I'm like, Simone, don't cry. Don't cry. Do not cry in front of these people. Like they're going to see some random girl just like wiping her face like, and just like back away from me. I'm like, I don't need this. So I cried when I went back at the door. But yeah, Forever Rain, love that song. Play the song at my funeral. Very depressing. So the correlation with rain in this song, I can see it.
Yeah. And then he goes on to say that it just won't stop raining and how he's trying to outrun this cloud of rain, thinking that just running would be enough. But then he makes this statement, I guess I'm only human after all. And I don't know, that got me thinking because after all, he is a celebrity. So if you think about it from like the human perspective, like we all know there are levels. Some people got hit with the pandemic more so than others.
All right.
And the way I interpret it is how he brings himself down to the common folk, where it's like, it doesn't matter if I'm a celebrity, I'm still affected by this. It just may not be in the same way that you're affected.
That's true.
So that's kind of how I understood that. And then he goes on to say, I'm in a world of pain. This cold that the world gave me prompts me to press the dust-covered rewind. That line right there, prompts me to press the dust-covered rewind, really stood out to me out of all of like his verse. Only because it's so true. Like this pandemic really forced people to just stop and like reflect on the things, like on just what's going on with them, what they were missing. Go back to things that they used to enjoy and just like rediscover themselves. So that's like what I saw.
Yeah, no, it definitely made everyone, I hope it did, just like reflect on like their lives in general.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that definitely affected me. Just like I'm still trying to get into just like the workforce itself and like just trying to figure out, you know, my life after school. Because, you know, I've been so stressed about school and then this happened. I'm like, wow. I mean, school, yes, is important, but like, obviously, this is not the first thing on my mind when something like this is happening. So you kind of see
how am I going to survive? What is my next
what's
move?
more important.
Yeah.
And you're like your priorities.
Exactly. I like how he mentioned that it's dust covered though, because it just shows that it was something that's been neglected. Like we are so used to going forward and not even thinking about what happens prior to what we've just done. So I like the use of the words. He's really good with that.
Yes, he knows his like...
He knows how to use words, yeah.
Definitely known for his lyricism and like wordplay, especially like between Korean and English, that like literally makes you think of stuff on a deeper meaning.
Yeah. But you know what's really interesting though is that this is translated. Like imagine how much more deeper it is in the actual like Korean language.
Yeah, that's why I do want to learn the language a little bit more when I'm listening to this stuff. But like even when I do, I'll never understand because like you were saying earlier, just about like how language is like its own like culture and like its life itself. Like sometimes you may still truly never really understand, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's still going to be like that. You understand, but then don't understand at the same time.
Yeah, no, I get that. And the ending where V and Jungkook are singing, I think this part had like a more of an upbeat tune to it, where they're talking about there's no end in sight, but like if we hold hands, we can run away to the future. I thought that was cute. But overall, I really liked the song. It gave exactly what people were expecting. They wanted some sort of like reassurance, some sort of hope. And I think they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, no, it was good. And then, because I know you were talking about some of the lyrics, so like my favorite, I think the whole thing was the chorus. And then, like, when you listen to the song, it does go back and forth between like English and Korean. So I'm only reading the translation. I don't really remember at this moment because I still haven't listened to the songs
Yeah.
like enough to really know, oh, this one's in, they sung in English, this one's in Korean to tell you. So it's like an echo in the forest, the day will come back around as if nothing happened. Yeah, life goes on like an arrow in the blue sky, another day flying by on my pillow on my table. Life goes on. I was like, dang,
I love
that
the
hits
chorus
you.
too. I think that's the part that really hit it.
And like I love the way they sing it. Like it does.
Yeah.
Even just reading it, I was like, I just felt something. I was like, dang.
As you were reading it, I was like reading it in their voices, like an echo, like, you know.
Yeah.
I'm really
not a
like
singer,
that.
so I'm not gonna sing it. But
yeah,
y'all can listen to the actual song itself to hear their voices. Because it's much better than mine.
I was going to say, like, one thing that Suga mentioned was how everything, people say the world changed, but thankfully between you and me, nothing changed. I was like, that's so soft and that's so cute.
Yeah, I thought that was really cute for, like, the fans.
Yeah.
Like, to reassure them that we're all in this together. So I thought that was really good. He's really good at, like, writing those type of lyrics. Like, he doesn't seem like the, like... I don't want to say sappy, but like that romantic type. But like when you read stuff he writes, and I was like, oh, he hides it really well.
Yeah, I really like him as a lyricist too. Like his work is good. But anywho, yes, I really like this song. This is actually one of my favorite songs on the album.
Also like him as a producer because he does make some beats. Let's not lie.
He knows what he's doing when he's producing.
Exactly. All right, so are we ready for the next song? Are we done with Life Goes On?
Yes. Fly to My Room.
And then this is just a unit track featuring Suga, J-Hope, Jimin, and V. This one's a little short because I think I was just really immersed in the music. I didn't write that many notes.
This one didn't feel long either, yeah.
It didn't. So like I think I just wrote like Jimin and V harmonizing at the very beginning of the song and like 10 crying emojis. Also put loving this beat, and then Min Yoongi and J-Hope and this beat switch up and like a bunch of exclamation points at the end.
I actually wrote down that I really like the tempo of the song too.
Yes. And like before you get into your thoughts on the lyrics, I just want to point out, because my favorite like lyrics is the whole first verse with like Jimin and V that basically starts off the song, which is every day it's so frustrating. It's driving me crazy. Feel like it's still day one. Somebody turned back the clock. The entire year got stolen. I'm still in bed, a bloated stomach. It's killing me slowly. Anyway, I want to leave. Anyway, there's no way. This room is all I have. Then what can I do here? Into my world, let's change it. And like I feel like that's such a great opening for this song because it kind of already gets into this, yeah, this sucks. I'm stuck in my room like all day. But when you get further into the song, they kind of talk about how to change. Okay, well, yes, this is happening, but let's turn it into something else. So let's turn the bad into good. Like basically bringing back out your, you know, your child imagination where you used to take the randomest things and just like imagine it was like you took a stick and like pretend it was like a sword or like a magic wand, you know, just like stuff like that to make a bad situation good. So like that whole first verse when I read the translation kind of hit me, and then it just made sense for the rest of the song of how we're like, okay, we're just gonna talk about this right now, but let's see how we can like change it. Like if this was a music video, I can totally imagine this like starting out like in black and white or like gray tones, and then like after that first verse it just kind of like brightens up, and then maybe they'll like show their parts of imaginations of like what they imagine in the room and stuff like that. Be really cool.
No, that's actually really cool that you mentioned that, because in the second verse, literally say, I wonder if this place was like this. Suddenly, this strange scenery, I'm absorbed by my memories. So even the old desks, the changed sunlight, it all looks special. So like how you were mentioning, like you are rediscovering your room and all the things that's associated with you and like the memories that come with it.
So like, oh, this isn't just like my room with this like boring bed or like that lamppost. Like, no, it's something that like lamppost in the dark, it like brings light when I need to
Mm-hmm.
see, or like this bed is like my comfort spot, like whether I'm just tired or like whether I'm just going to bed is something that brings me comfort through my long day.
What I really like about the song though is how they address both the positive and like the negative of being stuck. It's like, okay, yes, we're stuck here, but we can also do something about it. Like you said, we can just reimagine the things that we used to do when we were younger or rediscover certain things. They also mentioned okay, so the way I understood this, where they talk about, I believe it's in the chorus, they say, let's go, let me fly to my room, lower your
Yeah.
gaze and zoom anywhere. I thought of the internet. What did you think when you heard that?
So did you mean like going onto the internet or logging off the internet?
No, like going on to the internet. Because in the beginning, they mentioned how, like, okay, they're stuck. Let's try to get away. Let's try to get out and feel better. But when they said lower your gaze and zoom anywhere, I thought two things. I'm like, okay, so they're talking about the internet here. And then I thought about like the actual app Zoom for like video calling. So I'm not sure if that was done on purpose, but
I mean, I don't know. I would have to literally ask them. And I like sometimes in interviews when you ask them stuff where we think it's one thing and they're just like, no, I mean, or they didn't think about it that much. It could be, especially with the internet. Like, obviously, when all this happened, we did have to rely more on technology than we thought we were going to. So, like,
yeah.
people did turn to the internet, whether it's to go on social media more, like Twitter or like Facebook, stuff like that. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, with jobs, doing Zoom calls for like meetings, or even with families doing Zoom calls to like talk to each other, or also just like watching more television, like streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, all
Yeah.
those.
No, but like the thing is though, Zoom literally popped up when the
You just
pandemic
immediately
came.
thought of Zoom.
Yeah, because I've never heard of it before this.
I mean, Zoom is a real word before the app.
That is true. But I don't know. I just thought of it as like the internet and like video calling and things like that.
Yeah, I understand. It's funny that you thought of that, but I can see why. Did you have any more to say about this song, or?
um no, I just actually really like the positive spin they had. And like the whole perspective really of being stuck, like you said, in your room and then like now what? What do we do?
Yeah,
So I'm glad that they end these things with like optimism.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
all we can do right now is try to be as optimistic as we're privileged enough to be.
Yeah.
So on to the next song, which is Blue and Gray. Seems like this is definitely, like me going online, a favorite. It's described as a guitar-filled pop ballad. And interesting fact, so I did get some of this off of Twitter, and I don't know if this was mentioned in the Vlive that they had. I did not watch that yet because it's not subbed yet, but I'll probably watch it later. Apparently this was supposed to be on Taeyong's mixtape that he's making.
Oh.
Yeah, but they decided to make it a song for the whole group. Why? I don't know. Probably never will. Again, that's fine with me, but just to let you
Honestly,
know,
I like it as the whole group.
I do too, but I could see this on a V mixtape because I can't remember if this song was one of the songs he's like not spoiled. There was like this one time, like I think in the summer, where he's just like he literally pulled okay, I'm gonna post this for like a couple minutes and then delete later. I don't remember the exact phrase for this, but he
Yeah.
posted like a little snippet of like music he was working on and then he deleted it later. He kept his promise. I was like, oh, okay. This is
Yeah.
nice. But from that snippet, I was like, okay, this makes sense. And he's really good at those type of like pop ballad songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just think of like Singularity and like how is that's just like his
His
oh
style.
that song is amazing. His voice on that is amazing. That is literally one of my favorite songs. I love Singularity. So yeah, it just fits. It fits his style, it fits his voice. So I could see that. But it was also really good in the group.
I don't know. I really like it as the group.
Yeah, I didn't. When I was first listening to this, I can tell I wrote no notes on this. Besides that, I literally just wrote Taeyong has his voice is so comforting and soothing because him
Yeah.
and Jungkook starts off and like his voice is I picked up in his voice at first. So yeah, but I was re-listening to this morning and like I say it's comforting because I also realized I don't know if it's really noticeable, but I don't remember if this is throughout the whole song or like through I think it is. I think I picked it up during, was it the chorus? No. It might have been either Suga's part or J-Hope's part. In the background, there's kind of like an instrumental, and the beat in a way almost kind of sounds like your heart beating to me, like when you're doing breathing exercises. And I kind of noticed I was kind of breathing along to that beat, which I thought was really interesting. Like I said, I have very
Oh,
sensitive hearing. So, and I
yeah.
had my big headphones in, so that's how I was able to notice it. And I didn't
Mm-hmm.
notice it the first time. I only noticed it when I was listening to this morning. So I thought that was really cool. And I don't know if that was intentional or not, but there is like this kind of background noise that does sound like a heartbeat, especially like if you're doing like certain breathing exercises. So that's
Mm.
one thing I picked up this morning that I really point out. And then a lyric that just popped up, like what, this is just a line, and this is in the chorus, that really like touched me, is just the phrase, "I just want to be happier."
Yeah, I think that hit everybody.
That really hit me. And I think they said that in English too. It's just like, I just want to be happier. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
damn. You're coming for my feelings right now. Then, because even I'm looking at the lyrics again this time, after they say that, they ask the question, "Am I being too greedy?" And that right there, I'm like, dang.
Oh, I have things to say about that. Yeah.
That's a real question. Like sometimes I'm like, I feel like we shouldn't have to ask ourselves that. Like that's such a real thing, like to question if you're being greedy because you do certain stuff in order to be happy.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know, that really hit me, and it just made me think a lot. I'm like, wow.
The way I understood those two lines, want to be happier, am I being too greedy, has to do with like gratefulness. Because you know how people say you're always asking for too much because you're not grateful for what you have?
Yes.
That's how I understood it. Because when you think of happiness, you don't really think of it as greed. But when people bring it up, like, okay, you're not grateful, but you have this. Like when you say, okay, I want, let's say, a Ferrari, but right now I have a Toyota Camry. People could be like, okay, you're not happy, like you're not grateful that you have this car. Like be grateful that you have this car. But it's not greedy to want a Ferrari. Like if you're willing to put in the work, like I mean, you can have that. So that's how I kind of like translate that with happiness too. People are like, okay, you have all these things around you, just be grateful for what you have. And I don't know. I just think it's more like,
Yeah, I could see that. No, I can see that totally. And I definitely looked at it at a different point of view.
yeah.
No, you have a very valid point. And I think that is very true, especially like it is that question of like gratefulness and like gratitude and
Yeah.
like empathy when it comes to your happiness. And then I was looking at it as more of like when you are going through something, like you're struggling, like if you're just really sad or like
Mm-hmm.
going through something mentally, whether it is like something as far as like a mental illness or like depression, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like you almost feel like kind of giving up,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel greedy for just wanting to be like nothing else really but just to be happy, because sometimes you sacrifice a lot of stuff in order to do what you feel is like mentally fine for you
Yeah.
and like what keeps you like in peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you do get berated on like doing stuff that makes you happy or not doing stuff because you don't feel it's right for yourself. Like you get criticized for that. And
Yeah.
that's where I took it in for like asking, am I being too greedy for doing something that in the end I feel like will make me happy or does make me happy?
Mm-hmm.
So I took it as more as like a criticism in that way.
Yeah, like that's what I was leading back to is how it became a criticism of like, okay, why do I have to think of my well-being as greed?
Exactly. Why is my health considered greedy?
Yeah. Like, why is it, from your perspective, me doing me is greedy to you because it's not catering to what you want? Like, it makes it harder for people to think about themselves. I don't know.
No, that's definitely true. So,
Yeah.
because like just living in America, we are pretty centric around like individualism.
Mm-hmm.
As you can see with this pandemic, and like sometimes that can be a good thing, sometimes that can be a bad thing. So,
Yeah. It's also interesting that you mentioned that because Asian culture doesn't really hone in on individualism. They work in units. Like, take naming, for example. Like, Americans, or the Western culture, I should call it, we start off with our first name and then our family name, so our last name, right?
Right, and then it's opposite.
But it's the opposite in Asian culture. Like, you start off with, like, the group that you belong with, which is, like, your family name, and then your individual name. So it brings up that perspective, too.
That makes sense. Is that like a Asian thing as like the whole continent, or just like an East Asian thing? Like, is that also a thing in Southeast Asia?
We don't really have...
Because I don't know how names work like that.
We have a surname. So, like, at least with, like, Southeast Asia, we have a surname, which is, like, your parental family name, and then you have your name, and then you have the last name. So it's literally like a sandwich. So your individual name is, like, in the middle somewhere, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to really comment on that because I don't know about that. I mean, yes, I can agree about like the switching of the last names, but as far as knowing culture, I know nothing about. So I didn't want to be like, oh.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's in other Asian countries though, but I know it's Southeast Asia because I'm from that region.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
They typically have a surname and then your individual name and then the family name.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So much from just those 2 lines.
Listen, so much. This is why I like, and like I usually just talk, well, no, I really don't get into depth as much about lyrics, so I don't know, it's fun to do sometimes. And then I really like doing it with like BTS lyrics because like there's just so much I feel like you can interpret with their lyrics, whether it actually means this, it means something else, or just nothing at all.
This is why I really, really love art.
Yeah.
Because it's really up to the viewer's interpretation. Whether it's poetry, whether it's like a painting, whatever it may be, it's up to you. Like, once the artist releases it into the world, like, they have no control on how the person listening or receiving it, like, interprets it, which I think is really, really cool because you can't do that with other fields.
That's why I don't feel like art should be measured through award systems, but anyway.
That's a topic for another day.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it briefly off recording, but yeah, I just don't feel like you can measure stuff. Like, everyone's just so different in what they interpret with art. I just don't feel like it can be measured through awards. It's like awards are like, yes, this is what most people like a majority, but that doesn't speak for I don't know. It's a weird and like subject.
Yeah.
That as for now, I don't think I can really get too depth in it. I would definitely do more research, but no matter how much research I get into it, I'm a big advocate for just do whatever makes you happy, especially when it comes to art, because I know what it's like to like certain stuff and people being like asking me why I like it or like they think it's like bad, but if I like it because I see it as one thing, then and it brings me joy.
Like, I like it. Like, what's it to you?
Exactly. It's not harming you in any way. And I could say that for 1,000 other things, not just art. But we're not going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
So, on to the next song.
Wait, I wasn't done with this one.
Oh, you weren't done. I'm so sorry. I mean, this is a heavy song where, like, there's just so much to talk about. Yeah. This song could definitely be analyzed for, like, a whole episode in itself.
That is so true. But, like, I just wanted to talk about, like, the different stanzas, the different verses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the intro, where V and Jungkook are like, "Where is my angel? The end of the day, someone come and save me, please."
Oh, yeah.
I love how they directly went into mental health. Like, he's literally crying out for help. And then he goes on to say, "I guess everyone's happy. Can you look at me because I'm blue and gray?" The meaning of the tears.
Yeah, that definitely hit me too, because I'm pretty good at like not showing how I feel. So like that's definitely like a poker face, like mass reference of like, oh, I mean, everyone else is happy, but like I'm not. I should feel happy, but I'm really not. Yeah. Or like people think I'm happy, but
yeah, like he's talking about like the whole facade that you have to put up when you're with people. Like, okay, everyone around me is like laughing, so I should at least appear as if I'm okay.
Not even just that. They can also relate that like just being celebrities, because I remember I was listening to, I think it's Get Real, which is a podcast on Dive Studio with Big Matt from Card, Ashley from Ladies Code, and Peniel from the group B2B. And I don't remember which specific episode this was, but I remember Ashley mentioned like, you know, we are people in the spotlight And even if we are having like the worst day in the world, if we have something scheduled where we have to be on camera or we have to be like happy, like whether it's a photo shoot or recording something live, like we have to suck it up and like
just do it.
You know, perform. We just have to do it. We have no choice of whether like, oh, I want to skip this or like, let's do this another day. Like, this is my job. I have to put on a happy face as much as I can for my fans. So like, one, they don't get upset, but like, two, they don't want to see me sad all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like you are not forced, but you're just expected to always be happy. And I remember last year during Festa, I believe, I think J-Hope did mention this a little bit, like, and he was talking about like sometimes they did bring up like pre-debut he was like a completely different person because, you know, the fear of not like debuting.
Yeah.
He was more like depressed and like quiet, but then when they did, you know, he has the name J-Hope, which is hope, so like he just wants to be like more brighter, more, you know, like the funny guy, the one who always brings people out of the moods, and even if he doesn't feel like that, he still does it. And Jin has talked about that too sometimes, where like when he makes his jokes or like he just wants to be someone known as making people like smile or laugh, and he just doesn't want to show the side where he's like upset or like just going through stuff, which again, in the entertainment perspective, I understand.
Yeah, but with entertainment, it's like a double-edged sword, kind of.
No, it really is, especially if you're in the spotlight. But I mean, as long as, and I think they know this now, like they have that healthy balance of knowing the difference, like on camera, off camera, and like accepting when they're not in the best mood, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah.
So
I just really like, though, at the end, he's basically wanting someone to look at him and recognize that he's not doing okay.
Yeah.
That he's struggling between being blue and gray. Like, gray, I love how they chose the name of the song. Like, it was perfect because gray is like between like black and white, right? So it's like that middle color where people, which appears as like dull, and it has like a negative connotation leading more towards like the negative side, even though it's like a healthy middle between like black and white. But because it's dull, it's leading more towards like the negative connotation. And then blue, most people see that as a sad color, which represents like anxiety, depression. And so it's just telling you like on a scale, it's more towards like the darker side.
Which is funny because I think I remember when you look up like people's interpretations of like different colors, blue literally has a double-edged sword, which also kind of fits into this song. So like it's looked at that, but it's also looked like it's the color that people look at and it actually brings them calmness and joy. So
depending on what you're talking about, it can change.
It can literally be both.
Yeah. And then for like Suga's verse, I love how he talks about the blue question mark that he has had as a kid. So he's like literally addressing, okay, I've had like these issues since I was a child, but like I couldn't address them as to what it was. Yeah. But then like over time he grows up and he identifies it either as like depression or anxiety or just being lonely, or having regrets. So that's how I understood it. And I really appreciate that he went in depth like that because it really just adds on to the overall message of the song.
I was actually going to bring that up too, but I didn't know how to explain it the best, so I'm glad you brought it up because that was also something that like stuck out to me.
Yeah, it was pretty raw, I think. I've noticed he's getting much more raw with his music, and I really like that. Like in his mixtape, he had one about his friend.
Oh, the Dear My Friend?
That one took me off guard because I did not expect him to go into that detail about like a personal story from his life. But I appreciated it. It's a good song.
Also with people, I think that one was like going back and forth of reflecting how he is as a person from before they debut, when they did, and like where he's at now, especially with his age and like seeing things from a different perspective. I'll have to read up the lyrics again for his mixtape, but I mean, that's on repeat like almost every day.
There's this one line they do say, though, as the post-chorus, where they say, "Don't say it's okay because it's not okay. Please don't leave me alone. It hurts too much."
Oh, God.
That was like a literal cry for help. And those of you that don't know the Korean language, they use the strongest version of please, which is chaebol, right?
Yeah.
That's like the most desperate form of please. Like you're strongly requesting someone for something. And here they're strongly requesting you not to leave them alone because the pain is just too much. I was like so done at that point. I'm like, oh my God, stop.
Especially like the thing where it's like, don't say it's okay because it's not okay. I was like, oh.
Yeah. And I also interpreted that as like, you know how people brush it off when you tell them like, oh, I'm having a bad day. It's like, okay, cheer up. It's going to get better. But like for some people, it doesn't get better. It sometimes gets worse. And like it becomes like this long-term thing. So I like how they address that too.
Yeah.
Because when they say it's okay, it's really not. It's not okay. You should actually address it right then and there and then move forward.
This song really hit us in the feels.
I know. I was like, oh gosh, I did not expect myself to be saying so much. But even J-Hope, his verse too, like, you know how...
It's just all of them, okay? It's just all of them.
His kind of took me by surprise too a little bit. Like, I know he has his bad days, but he actually addressed that in a song where he's like, on the road I always walk, there is a light that always shines. Because, you know, he's known as like everyone's hope, as the sunshine and everything. But even he has his days where things are heavy and not great. So I love how he addressed it too.
Yeah, that kind of goes back to what I was talking about him at the beginning too. So
yeah,
and I forgot about that as well. The only thing with these lyrics is, like I said, I haven't listened to the songs that much. I can't remember like which, especially when it says like who's on which verse, which member stops and which one starts again. So I don't remember. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure that was J-Hope, but like I want to make sure like when we go back to listen to the song, like, oh, that wasn't actually him saying it was actually Namjoon, but I'm pretty sure you're right. I will know when I go back and listen to this because I'm probably going to go back and listen to this whole thing again when we're done.
You know, I really like that they use colors to describe their emotions because like throughout the song, they're always talking about not having warmth, always feeling cold. And whenever you think about blue, that is also related to being cold or being like pushed away, distant. So I really liked how they intertwined their feelings with like a color.
Okay, we have like 3 more songs to talk about.
This is the one I had the most to say about.
Okay, I'm like, this could have been a whole episode, but let's continue on. But yeah, I think this is definitely the one song which was the most like in depth.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so, I mean, it's not really a song, but I think some fans asked for this again, so they put back a skit, because I don't think they've done a skit since The Most Beautiful Moment in Life Part 2. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the last time they added this. Well, no, I don't count the Billboard one in Love Yourself Her as a skit. So, yeah.
This was cute. It was such a funny skit.
Yeah, this one was pretty much... So I don't remember if they said this one was planned or not, because they said they recorded this before they I'm assuming they were already recording, but like before you actually start, like how we do, they were just talking. So this was the day that they found out that Dynamite went #1 on the billboards, and they were just going back and forth on that. They were just like, be like, oh, Billboard #1 singer has entered, or like, oh, the Billboard #1 singer has arrived too late and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
Really cute. I thought it was really funny when I think it was Namjoon asked Yoongi how he felt, and it was just bleeping for like 5 seconds. I'm like, what? Okay.
Yeah, I was wondering why they were bleeping. I'm like, he can't be cursing that much.
No, I believe it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do. Especially when he expressed how emotional he was, like when they found out, like think like in the Twitter post he was crying, and I think even in the skit he said he was crying. So like I believe it, but I don't blame him. He was happy and excited. Yeah. So,
but you know what really hit was RM's last 9.
Is this the same one I was gonna bring up?
So is this what happiness is like? It's like, oh my god.
I was like, what?
Oh, you can tell they were so happy. Like they finally reached what they wanted.
I know, but like I don't. It's like one of those things where someone says something and like you don't think about it at the moment, but then like you kind of resonate. It's like, huh, like, do you think this is what happiness is like? And that, when I read that, definitely threw me off. And I was like...
That kind of brought up the thing, like, I thought of it as like, so everything he's felt, like, so he doesn't know what happiness is, even now.
I don't know. And I don't want to sit here and act like I don't want to talk for them or act like I know them. I don't.
Yeah.
We're both sitting here literally just like interpreting lyrics and like what they said. So I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know him personally outside of like BTS or like on a personal level, and I don't want to pretend I do. So it could be true. He could have just been saying that. Like, I know sometimes I'll say something that like in a joking way, even if I'm being serious, but like people won't take it seriously. So like I kind of get away with saying it.
You think he said it more as a joke?
I don't know. I don't feel like it.
I think it was such a surreal moment for them, though.
Yeah, being serious but saying it in a joking manner, but you're still serious. I think it was kind of like that. Because if you hear the audio, he does kind of say it in like a joking manner because they laugh. But at the same time, it was like, it could have been. Again, I don't know.
I just thought that was like a very strong line.
I wasn't sure if we were both going to bring that up. I was definitely going to bring that up because I wrote that down as well. And I was like, do you think this is what happiness is like? And I had to reevaluate my whole life.
Yeah.
I had to be like, dang, I don't know. Is it? I hope he got
his answer.
The answer. Yeah. Whether he answered it himself or because it fades off. So hopefully someone answered him. Mm-hmm. I would also like to know.
I would like to know too.
That was, again, this whole album's just hitting me in the feelings, hitting me in the feels, making me reflect myself as a person. And I didn't think K-pop was supposed to do this even. Yeah, this is why I like them so much.
That's actually one of the reasons why, like, I just continued to be a fan, is because they actually write lyrics that you can reflect and relate to.
I'm sorry, I can't get over this. It's like, it keeps repeating in my head, is this what happiness is like? And I'm just sitting here dumbfounded because, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't answer that for you.
I can't answer that myself.
Yeah.
I cannot answer that myself. Maybe, hopefully, one day I can. I really hope it's like one of those scenes in the movies where like I'm looking at everything, I'm like reflecting on my life. I ask myself that question and then I can confidently say, yes, this is what happiness feels like. So
I hope we all reach that moment, honestly.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Because I will sit here and dwell on that one line forever. Yeah. It's like with Blue and Gray, this could be a whole episode on its own.
Honestly.
All right, and then so after that, the music does pick up, like lyric-wise maybe, but obviously like tempo music, it starts to pick up. So the next song...
I mean, they're still talking about like being in pain and things like that. But they also start addressing like how they're happier when they meet whoever they're talking about in the song.
Yeah, so the next song is titled Telepathy. Mm-hmm. It's a song filled with funky rhythm, and I believe this is the first produced song by Yoongi since Autumn Leaves. And that is one of my favorite songs from Most Beautiful Moment in Life. So
Autumn Leaves?
Yes, I love that song a lot.
You said this is his first produced song?
Since that song for the group. Not in general. This is for BTS. This is his first, like, I'm assuming this is one of the 1,000 songs he had in his draft because, you know, I think he makes music every day. I remember one time they said by the end of the year, it's at least over 100. Was it end of the year or end of the day? He just makes a lot of music. So I'm sure this is one of the ones in the draft was like, oh, I was going to throw this away, but yeah.
Yeah, I remember him and RM were like talking one time, and RM was like, yeah, I struggle to write lyrics sometimes. And he's like, oh, really? Because I write like 2 songs a day.
Yeah. I was like, okay.
He's like, and RM was so dumbfounded. He's like, how?
I don't know, man. That's someone who's really dedicated into their craft.
I appreciate that.
I do too.
Yeah.
My first thoughts/reactions to this song was BTS really knows how to make me sad 1 minute and then be like, all right, bitch, that's enough moping. Let's go shopping. So that's literally how I felt in like a 90s movie where like the best friend who's like not really the one you talk to for like advice or anything like that. Like you can find in them, but like when you're done, they're like, all right, stop moping. Like, let's get you out of the house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like listening to this. Because I said, even though the lyrics are still not depressing, but like, you know, sentimental, I was like, I immediately wanted to get up and just like start dancing.
Aww.
So, and then it also said it made me feel like one of those those main white girl leads in a movie that's shy to dance at first, and then she looks around at everyone dancing and then starts building up her confidence as the beat keeps going, and then she starts dancing terribly later.
Hey, as long as if you have the confidence, you're good.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what these people think. You're enjoying yourself. That's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
I will hype you up. Like, you go, girl. Okay?
Exactly.
But yeah, those were my first thoughts / reactions. But this and another song that we're gonna talk about later is a battle of like my favorite off this album. I really like this song.
Yeah.
Yes.
I enjoyed this one too.
And this is also like type of music I like really listen to. So I like the more of like, you know, upbeat, dancey, like music.
Yeah.
And songs. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. This was definitely on heavy repeat. Anything about the lyrics that stood out to you? Well, hang on. Oh, it was just one line, and this was RM's line that stood out to me was, "Oh, I can be your Bibbly Hills." Cool thing about this Genius thing too is they have stuff highlighted, and if you click on it, it tells you like little notes. Either it's through like the person who it's through the whoever translated like their notes of whether they interpret it or not. So it says when you click on it, RM is using wordplay here. "Oh, I can be your Bibbly Hills," which when it's written in Hangul, could be translated as something or someone to lean on. So therefore, this line could be read, "Oh, I can be the one you could lean on."
Nice.
Yeah.
I was wondering what Bibbly Hills was. I was like, is he talking about Beverly Hills? I was confused for a second.
Sometimes he'll do that. I notice in like song lyrics where he'll like the lyrics when they come out, even if the whole thing is like in Hangul, that one line, I'm already confusing myself like talking about his wordplay, especially between Korean and English, because it's just so like I can't explain it on like a critical level. It's just really good. But it's one of those things where like he probably wrote something in like the English way of a Korean word, and it could be interpreted in like many different ways. There's also something like that in the next song we'll talk about that I'm going to bring up. But for this one, that's, yeah.
Some lyrics that I liked from here is how they say, "Let's go at our own speed. This is a pretty long and fun roller coaster." I like how they're starting to have that positive spin on the situation. Because, like, throughout the song, they say, like, as long as if, like, I know we're not together, but, like, we're still together. You know what I mean? Like, we may not be meeting, we may not be side by side, but we're there by heart. So I like that.
Yeah, because even, like, in the bridge, there's a part where they're like, even though we're far away now, our hearts are still the same. So kind of like the point of the title Telepathy, like, where if you're really close, when you're on the same page, like when you're really close to someone, like you don't have to say anything, but like if you guys look at each other, you like know what the other person's thinking. So,
yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure they're all like, I can feel like I can confidently say this, like as a group, even though they're technically our coworkers, they really are really close with each other. That's so prevalent. You can see that even if you like look up people that worked with him, they always talk about like how they feel like a third wheel when they're all together. So they're obviously really close, and there's always a joke how like their telepathy is like so strong with each other. So yeah, and you can see that too, like with this promotion with Yoongi being gone, they're literally always including him.
I know. I thought that was adorable.
Yeah, there was even, like, when they were standing to take pictures, Taeyong and Jin left a little space where Yoongi usually stands for him. I know.
Like, stop it.
Seriously. I don't like getting in my feelings.
Right. Okay, did you have anything else to say about this song?
I love this song.
I like it too.
That's all. I don't know if this one could really be dug deep as the other ones. Even the lyric wise, it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's just a really cute song. This is definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
All right, so then let's move on to the one that I am battling it with as my second favorite. I'll let you guys know. Like, give me a week or two, but I'm also a very indecisive person, and that can change. And it is Disease, and even the Korean word for it, Byung, literally translates to disease. So this one is like an old school hip hop vibe. I think J-Hope helped produce a majority, if not all, of this song. So, and I can definitely tell this definitely was giving me Hope World vibes. This is like old school hip hop. I think is like you can if you think of BTS, you can think old school hip hop. J-Hope, he's really good with that like concept, like from dancing. I can tell in his style. He
I was
really
gonna
likes that
say
type
it
of
gives me
music.
like older BTS song vibes. Actually, like one of my favorite songs on the album.
This and Telepathy are literally tied right now for like my number one. It's so good. Ugh,
Yeah.
it's so good. And then like my first thoughts and reactions for this one was just like because J-Hope starts it, so I just have J-Hope, J-Hope. It's literally it. Like so. And then I have Namjoon's background vocals at the beginning of his verse was really good. He has a nice singing voice sometimes.
J-Hope?
No, Namjoon. I mean, J-Hope too. Oh, J-Hope actually has an amazing singing voice.
He
Like,
does.
I don't
He
think
does.
people realize his backup vocals on a lot of their songs, even older songs. Like, if you hear a deeper voice, that's probably him.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they both do. And I know they both make, at least Namjoon does, makes the, like, demo tracks that they use to record, like, the final pieces a lot. So
Yeah. I like how it's very positive and how, like, especially in, like, Suga's verse, he mentions that it's easier... Well, I'm paraphrasing here, but that like it's easier to change yourself than try to change the world.
yeah.
I thought that was a very powerful statement to make.
Oh, for sure. I had one more for my first thoughts and reactions, but I put bring out the boombox and start breakdancing on the flattened out cardboard box. I think I mostly said that during Yoongi's part and the chorus.
Yeah.
And then I also put not the switch up during this breakdown.
Yeah.
Like in a good way. Like it threw me off guard, but I'm like, yo, keep it coming.
Right. I like how they addressed the concept of fear. The fear of not knowing what's going to happen, the fear of not doing what you want. So I like how they say that in the chorus, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, let's just address them all or treat them all.
Yeah, no, fear definitely comes out, especially like when you don't know stuff. So like the fear of unknown, I think is the strongest out of all the fears.
I like it. Overall, it's a really catchy song. It's like my top 2, along with Life Goes On.
So again, there are some lyrics that jumped out to me. So the first one I'm going to say is Namjoon's lyric, and this goes into what I'm talking about, his wordplay. So he says, verse 2, it's my heart needs a vacation. Oh, just do your job. I'm ill. I'm the job itself. A friend named Rest. I never liked him. How much do you have to earn to be happy? And then with the wordplay I was talking about, I don't remember. I know I got this from online. I'm sorry. I don't remember who actually posted this first, but it was a screenshot of, I don't know if this is from Twitter, but someone's like that line where it says, I'm ill. I'm the job itself. And someone broke it down like into 3 different meanings. So it can be like, as in he's sick of working in the context with the rest first. It could be I'm ill, which is the same sound as the Korean word, ill, which means work, as in all he ever does is work so much. So now he's defined by his work/job, and ill, which also means one in Korean, as in he's number 1.
Oh, wow. I actually understood it as the first 2, though.
Yeah. I mean, but it also could just be like he is number 1 too. It could literally be interpreted into 3 things.
That's
3
true.
things.
Just that one statement.
Just the one line.
Yeah.
I saw that. I'm like, I definitely need to write this down. And then another one was Yoongi's verse where he's like, is it the world or me that's sick? Is it just a difference in interpretation?
Yeah, that's the part I was talking about where he said it's easier to just change yourself than the world.
Okay. Yeah, it's that line. Especially the way he phrased it. And I was like, ugh. And then like towards the end, there's this bridge where in the vocal line, the beat switches up. Mm-hmm. And the first thing, I think it's Jimin's voice. Someone like just sings out sick and tired. And I'm like, yes, because I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah.
Like that felt like a word to me. I wish I was good at singing to like sing it out loud, but I'm not going to hurt you guys' ears like that. So... just know I heard that and like I think I had to repeat it at least 3 times because like especially the way it was sung, I truly felt that hit me in my soul because I know that feeling of just being sick and tired, and not even just of something specific. Like I'm just sick and tired of always feeling like I'm sick and tired.
I can relate with that. Yeah. Anything else about this song?
I think I'm good. Ready to move on to the next one?
Yep, the last one.
Yeah. So it's not the last one in the album, but this is the last one we're going to talk about because the very last one, I don't know if I said this earlier, is Dynamite.
Oh, Dynamite, that's right.
Yes. So that's technically the very last song, but we have all heard Dynamite. Dynamite's been out for like 2 months now, 3 months.
Really?
It came out in August, didn't it?
Did it really?
I think it did, the end of August.
No way.
I feel like, what is today, the 21st? This might actually be literally 3 months since it's been out.
Wow.
Either today or tomorrow.
I feel like it came out like last week, not gonna lie.
I mean, you hear it everywhere, but yeah. So Dynamite. I don't think we need to go into detail with Dynamite. I love Dynamite. It's a good song. I have nothing bad to say about Dynamite. It's cute.
It is cute. It's very catchy.
Yeah, it's very catchy, and I really do feel like, especially from where they started off, like with the slower, sentimental songs, and to bring you like up, kind of like how you feel like, when you're sad and you're slowly getting better. I feel like it really fits at the end. So that's like where you actually are better.
Mm-hmm.
So, but this one was interesting because, so the next one we're going to talk about is Stay. And this one was also a unit song with just RM, Jin, and Jungkook in it. And originally this was going to be on Jungkook's mixtape that he is working on as well.
Oh, really?
Yes. And I think on this Genius thing set, no, did I read this in a tweet? I read somewhere that this song, the whole thing was actually all done in English. So I think he was going to originally sing this song all in English, but because it was for the group, they did make some of the, lyrics into Korean.
I would have loved to hear it in English. His English is getting so much better now.
Yeah.
Like, he's improving a lot.
It's because it made me think of like, oh my God, what is that song? Wasted on Me. They did with Steve. Well, only Jungkook and Namjoon did. So
Jimin did too.
Backup vocals.
Oh, okay.
That would have reminded me of it if it was all in English. CDM, which I was really surprised, but not really. I don't know.
This is an ARMY song for sure.
This is definitely a song to be played at concerts, like So What. So like at the beginning, I didn't really like So What. Still not really my favorite song, but like when you hear it live, it definitely like it's an upbeat song that makes you jump up and down.
Yeah.
So I can see that with Stay. But it's really good. And then like in my first thoughts, I was like, dance EDM, a bunch of question marks and exclamation points. This is completely a rave music, early 2010s music, and music I was 100% listening to while I grew up. Definitely it reminded me of my childhood. And then I was confused that Ara was on this song, but the more I thought of it, it brought me back to like I mentioned So What and Wasted on Me, and like I think he has a really suitable voice for like heavy type EDM music.
I thought this was a good song. I really like the chorus.
Me too.
And I like how they show confidence in the ARMY, that no matter what, they know that they'll stay by them.
Yeah.
That they always have their support.
It was just like a reassurance, like our fans will be here no matter what we do. So.
Yeah.
Well,
I wouldn't say no matter what we do.
That's why I was like, well, let me take it back. As long as our morals are still in check.
As long as if we're focusing on producing good music.
Yes, and we don't do anything criminally.
Yeah.
Or unethically.
Yeah.
But besides that, so yes, this is what it basically means. We will still be here. Like, because I think, did JO say this in the press conference? One of them did mention that they had a fear that they were going to lose fans because of this pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because, they're not as active. They can't meet fans. So, like, they thought people would lose interest in them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the song definitely ties in with that.
Yeah, for sure. Overall, I thought this was a great album. I'm glad they didn't put too many songs on there.
Yeah, I think it was what needed. Short, sweet, simple. Didn't drag it out, but also got the point across that they needed to. So at the end of the day, just go stream B. That's all I can say. Just go listen to it on whatever platforms. What is it? Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. Yeah, great album.
Mm-hmm.
And then real quick before we end this, I did get my physical album copy because I did pre-order it yesterday. I'm really surprised it came the same day, and I haven't opened it yet, so I was gonna open it. I'm actually ripping up the plastic as we speak right now. To like, because I don't really know what it looks like. Like, of course we saw the teasers that they always drop, But I don't
Yeah.
know what the actual thing itself looks like. So I thought
Okay.
I'd open it and show Nafees, and then y'all can. I'm not gonna lie. I might actually go quiet a little bit, so Nafees might have to be like, Simone, are you still there? I'm like, yeah, I'm still here. I'm just
Looking at my stuff.
if I can open it. How do you open this thing? Oh, I got it. No, because I thought it was a push through, but it's like, okay, yeah,
It's a pretty big package.
This thing is thick. This thing is so big. But yeah. Oh wait, what is this? Is this like a little frame? Oh, this is so cute. So like the CD itself has all of them on it and like in suits and stuff. I'll show the fees.
Oh,
You see it?
nice.
Yeah. Of course, looking all serious, but like not at the same time.
I like the packaging for the CD.
Yeah, it's really nice. And like the way it was, that's why I was like, is this a frame? Because before you open up to get to the CD, it has like B, and then at the bottom's like life goes on. I'll take pictures.
Honestly, you could make it into a frame.
You could.
Just stick a picture in there and it works.
Exactly. Actually, I think, is this what this little slot is for? I think there's a slot to put a picture in it.
Oh, that's clever.
Yeah, that is clever. And then I can't get it out right now, but they have two separate books. So I'm assuming one is the photo book, which I'm really happy they went back because I know one of the biggest complaints for 7 was they didn't have a photo book. It was like just posters, and not everyone likes to put up posters.
Mm-hmm.
So they went back to the book, thank God. And then they have a separate. Oh, and I get a poster. Look at that when I lifted up the lyric book. Yes, definitely going on my wall. So beautiful.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Isn't it? It's the same outfits as what it looks like on the CD. Yeah, I'll definitely take pictures and put this on our socials.
Uh-huh.
I'm really bad at explaining stuff. I'm sorry, guys. What is Jungkook holding in his hand? Oh! At first, I was going to be like, why does this look like a whip? It's not, guys. It is. So I'm assuming it's supposed to be like if they're taking a picture like from their phone, it's a little clicker. So it's a string and like, he clicks on it and then it takes the picture. That's what it's supposed to be. God, my mind. And then lyric book, which I think this is all in their handwriting, like the first words.
Oh, okay.
Or the title tracks. They have nice handwriting. Obviously, again, lyric book, so maybe I can brush up on my Korean learning, just like reading those.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the deluxe one. So yes, this one came with like 4, or not 4. Wow, I don't know my numbers. This came with 7 photo cards. So when you usually open up a K-pop album, you get a random member. This one came with all of them.
Oh, nice.
Oh, this little Polaroid is so cute. Can you see that? They're all holding up a finger heart. And I love these photo cards. It's of their concept of like them being in the room. So they're on their little like couches or whatever, but they're like laying down. So that's the Jimin one.
Oh, okay.
And then that's the Yoongi one.
Oh, I love that smile.
It's a big smile. Oh, I love V's smile.
Oh,
I'm so sorry for any type of weird noises I make. Also, I want to know where he got this blow up couch from.
Oh, that's cool.
That is cool. So those are that. And then there's bigger like actual cards in here. Oh, so this is actually when they're doing, their little YouTube lives of like the album making process. This is something Yoongi painted. So this is the full painting that he did. It's really cool. It looks like one of those like, oh my God. Nafees, help me with words. Like if you see on a monitor,
oh, like the heartbeat?
Yes. And I guess each one is supposed to represent each member and like their room. So this one is just of wood. I'm assuming that one's for Namjoon. This one's for the sky. I don't know who that would represent.
Did they all paint those?
No, I only know this one. It was painted by Yoongi. Most of these look like regular pictures. This one is a broken mirror. That's pretty interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, and then one of just 2 mirrors in different shapes sitting side by side with each other.
Okay.
So there's that. And then, of course, what is this? Oh, they have a making book? Oh, that's so cool.
What is that?
So it's outside of the actual photo book. So I guess these are just pictures the members took themselves of each other. So like here's like Yoongi like holding up a camera.
Oh, wow.
And just things like that. I guess these are oh God, they're Korean handwriting. The handwriting's so neat. I just can't read it because, you know, I don't know the language. I wonder who took that picture of Jimin sleeping. They like to do that, but that's still a good picture of him. So it looks like just pictures of that, and then there's little notes written in it. So I don't know if these are notes of... Yeah, I think these are notes of the lyrics. Because I see this one of J-Hope, and it has Byung at the top, and it has a bunch of like words written, and so a lot of it's crossed out. Just the process of writing. And then this ginormous book of just photos. I'm going to have a fun time drawing these. I don't know if I mentioned on the podcast in earlier episodes or like it doesn't come out till later, but I like to draw. So that's another reason why I get a lot of these K-pop albums, because I actually use them to practice drawing. I haven't in a while because of school, but school is almost over. So I can have more free time until I get a job. Oh, it's so nice. Okay.
I'm glad you like it. Like, it turned out to be everything that you wanted it to be.
It's so good.
No pun intended.
I didn't get the pun. I think it flew over my head.
I said I'm glad it's everything you wanted it to be.
Oh, Nafees. You and your dad jokes. All right, guys. On that note.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. You can find us everywhere that you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts if that is what you are using.
Real quick on that. We say that for when we get on Apple Podcasts, but at the moment we are not on Apple Podcasts. I don't know why it's taking us forever to get like approved on there, but we'll say on our socials when we are actually on Apple Podcasts, but go ahead and continue. I just felt like I needed to say that.
Okay. And let us know what you think in the comments. Thank you to our lovely editor, Sam, and our social media specialists. You can also follow us on social media at I Was Thinking Pod on Instagram and Twitter. If you have any questions, comments, or a topic you think we should talk about, email us at iwasthinkingpod@gmail.com. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye. I'm going to go home. Well, I'm already home. What am I talking about? I'm just going to stop recording and just admire this album. Okay, see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.